Hey everyone, you are listening to Beyond the Ring podcast, and this is the SmackDown and AEW Rampage review. And guys, if you're checking out my content for first time, please make sure to like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff, guys. So we firstly focus upon the SmackDown show, and SmackDown show began with Roman Reigns, and we had. Unexpected guest here. We had Big E, the WWE champion, coming on to SmackDown, and it was very fun to see Big E. I didn't expect that, and they pulled it over. A nice little surprise, I would say that. And having a face-off between these two was very fun to watch. I would say the best thing is Roman Reigns, and whatever surrounds it, it's gonna be gold, and it's like that. So we have touched upon to the Finn Balor actually trying to get his inner demons to defeat Reigns for the Universal Champion, and that's why when actually Big E interrupted Paul Heyman, and Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso, and then we had the matchup. We had Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso versus Big E and Finn Balor that was being confirmed, and it's a really good way to open the show, I would say, and a really good. Environment and the really good feel to the show in the start, I would say. And I like the match as well. It was a really good TV match, opening it very well. And we had Balor performing a sling blade clothesline on Jay, and Biggie hit the big ending. And surprisingly, after the commercial, they were I mean, Cole was telling that this match is going to be championship contenders match. I mean, Jay and Jimmy Uso with the SmackDown Tag Team champion. So Big E and Finn Balor maybe would be getting the opportunity. I mean, I don't know what's happening there. I thought about maybe they are going to draft Finn Balor to Monday Night Raw, because I don't think so. Finn Balor is going to defeat Roman Reigns. Maybe we could see Brock Lesnar's involvement, and yeah. So that's what I think. Maybe he could play a shenanigans, and he could hit an F5, and that would result into a no, I mean, DQ disqualification. That's what my thinking is. So this was fun match, really good match. And Biggie hit the big ending on Jimmy, while Balor simultaneously performed the coup de grace, and that was it on Jay. And Biggie covered Jimmy and scored the victory. And post that, we have was shown watching the match. Roman Reigns was watching the match backstage, and he's really upset because Usos got lost. And we had the Rick Boogs versus Robert Root match, which was entertaining, I would say, the entertaining part of the show. And the match was just a normal match, just a decent match, I would say. And this was just to set up the Shinsuke Nakamura's Intercontinental title. He was doing nothing, he was dancing around with Rick Books, and glad he's getting. I think so. They're gonna put the belt on. Put the title on Apollo Crews. I think that should be the decision, because the heel champions are working for WWE right now. So he's also kind of representing a tribe. So he had Commander Rassi. So I think so. Apollo Crews being Intercontinental Champion was kind of better than Shinsuke Nakamura becoming the IC champion. Actually, I was happy when he actually became the champion, but he didn't got the booking that he is expected to. But that's what I actually I'm kind of worried about. So I'm very onto the thing that maybe they would put the title on Apollo Crews at Extreme Rules. And yeah, so that's what this post match thing was. And apart from that, there was nothing. And we had Happy Corbin versus Kevin Owens, and this was also a match that was going to be, but Happy Corbin attacked Kevin Owens from behind. I mean, ever since the Kevin Owens thing is being going viral, he's being booked very awful, I would say. But he was booking again. He was booked again. Was not booked again. Not a good way, but still, it's still was slightly better, I would say. But this time is looking so bad. This guy is so much. so much good. I mean, so much good and very apt to the intercontinental title picture. I mean, we can pull it off for Shinsuke Nakamura versus Kevin Owens feud and turn him heel, guys. I mean, he's a babyface. He's working well, but he ain't getting any feud, and that's. I mean, he was better. He was better when he was heel, I would say. And remember, man, the 2015, 2016 time when Kevin Owens was so great and putting on great matches every week, and that's a major missing actually. He's one of my favorite in SmackDown, and yeah, so one of my favorite superstars in SmackDown, and in this in this time actually. And we had after that we had Big E's and Paul Heyman segment. Kayla Braxton kind of asked, the draft that Lesnar is going to be the kind of teasing that Lesnar is going to Monday Night Raw. So maybe we could see a USA Network pull off that, because they are missing major stars. So we may be getting Brock Lesnar getting into the Monday Night Raw scene, and we could see Paul Heyman managing both of them as well after this match at Crown Jewel. And that's what I think. And we have Heyman's promo with a segment with Kayla Braxton, and then we had Usos attacking Biggie, and then we had Roman Reigns passed on. So it was nice. It was a nice way to continue the thing. So kind of they have spilled the beans naturally for the Biggie versus Roman Reigns, and I think so. This match is one of the expected match that fans are waiting for to see. Biggie versus Brock Lesnar would be one hell of a match as well, but I would say save it for another pay per view or another thing also. As I think so that if Lesnar is getting into Monday Night Raw, it would be if they can make this match happen. Like Brock Lesnar can is a title hunter, so he can be put. Put onto the title picture, I think so. So that's what I think. So that's an easy matchup to do if he's coming to Raw. But you cannot make Roman Reigns versus Biggie. I'm not thinking. No way. Here they are. Roman Reigns is going to get drafted onto Monday Night Raw. So that's what I think. And we get to the next. Segment, we get to the second hour of the. So first hour was nice, I would say. Nothing very just Roman Reigns whole storyline, that was only good. Apart from that, it was just there. It was just decent. Nothing very spectacular or extraordinary. And we get to the hour two Seth Rollins promo. It was a long promo, and he's long story short, he says he's not done with Edge. So probably, I think so, Edge is going to be back. Before Crown Jewel. So maybe you could get Edge versus Seth Rollins again. I don't think so. It's gonna be it's bad or something, because we have seen it's kind of getting into the Cesaro kind of thing, where we actually love the rivalry that they had, Seth Rollins Cesaro. But that it reached a point where we kind of hating, like same stuff we are seeing, nothing different. They're putting on good matches, but nothing, man. They're just the story is not progressing. Just he's taking just taking hatred over each other. I mean, it's like a one-way thing. Seth Rollins just harming Cesaro. So that's the same storyline that they're continuing with Edge. Even though, but it's a different day. If there's a difference as well, because this is a third match. If this is going to happen, probably it's going to happen. So right now it's like 1-1 situation. So kind of a rubber match that would be, and WWE likes to do that. So probably, I think so, they should end this thing at Crown Jewel. Maybe add some stipulation or something into this match. That's what I think. Kind of a career versus career, that I think. Or maybe we could see. Like strong chance that Edge is going to be getting drafted to Monday Night Raw. That's the things they are showing the signs. So Edge and Seth Rollins probably would be going to have a great match, and probably I would think so. Kind of brand versus just like. Yeah, banish thing that they did with Daniel Bryan. Maybe we thought about Daniel Bryan going to Raw, but maybe they can do this with Edge storyline as well. So that's what I think, man. But I mean. I would say that maybe Seth Rollins getting the victory would be good this time. Uh, Yeah, because I don't think so. After the match, he's going to be. Edge is going to be kind of returning to Monday Night Raw. He may be taking some time off, and then maybe book him to return or something. That's what I think. And yeah, just hold off. So and Seth Rollins, they are kind of just closing the lid. Just storing the thing that they want to push him into the Universal title picture. So maybe we could see Roman Reigns being demolished and destroyed by Seth Rollins finally. Maybe they are looking on to this match at WrestleMania. So that's why they are holding, because it's kind of a long time that he's just stretching this edge rivalry. That I actually thought that maybe he could be going to the Universal title picture after this Finn Balor and Brock Lesnar thing, probably after Survivor Series, because Survivor Series is a champion versus champion thing. So that's a thing as well. So that was the promo that Rollins had was a really great, and it was investable, and it was good to listen to the Rollins promo. And he kind of had a babyface turn as well sometimes, because he was saying that probably he did this because he did this thing all legal, because he was in a legal match, he used a legal move. So kind of he is kind of trying to get that positive reaction from fans, which is he's a fan favorite. Still he's heel, but he's being hated, but he's a fan favorite. So that's the thing. And lots of Seth Rollins thing, and we get to the next match. Tony Storm and Liv Morgan finally getting Tony Storm and Liv Morgan the time that they were expecting for weeks now. And Carmella and Zelina Vega faces them off, and this was just nothing, man. Carmella just she actually she hurt her nose. So she thought that it's going to be create some she would have been yeah, repeatedly yelling my nose, and that was it. I just don't want to discuss this. And we get to the Street Profits, Montez Ford, Angelo Dawkins promo, and they were back having a backstage promo, nice little promo. They hyped up Bianca Belair's celebration, because that's what the thing was headlining this show, because the SmackDown show was in her hometown, Knoxville, Tennessee. So after that, we had a quick Finn Balor that was being Finn Balor's demon gimmick that was being going to be explained. And he said he was born into a family of railroad workers, and he wasn't supposed to be in WWE. He's not kind of from the wrestling family, I think so. This was a good promo by Finn Balor, and Finn Balor is not a very great promo cutter, but I would say I like this, and it meant something, I would say. And it was nice to see including this thing into the show, I would say. And have a reason that, and he said the demon unlocks rage and demon summons himself. He doesn't summon the demon, and Balor is going to face the challenger, he says, and he ends with that he's going to win the Universal Championship. And probably still it's not believable that a 380 plus day champion reign for Roman Reigns, and just not unbeatable since 2019. He's yeah, they can have, but they haven't created a storyline where they can. It's kind of an afterthought, because the whole situation is pointing. The focus is on the Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman situation. So Finn Balor is kind of overshadowed, because probably this rivalry would have continued, and then Brock Lesnar should have returned, or maybe continue with Brock Lesnar thing, and then just store it for any other pay per view or something. That's what I should have. I should have think or booked or like that, because till then we could have IC title rivalry for Finn Balor as well. He's a good in that position as well. So that's what I think is kind of overshadowed by the Brock Lesnar whole thing. And we get to the next match, Sami Zayn versus Dominic Mysterio. And before that, we had a intense stare down with Devil and Naomi. Naomi asked for opportunity again. She ain't getting this week, and she's she's going to get next week, she says, and she's just saying that, and just demand, and she just kind of just kind of she was afraiding her, kind of intimidating her, that maybe you could see Devil versus Naomi at in Crown Jewel. Extreme Rules, I don't think so. Maybe they can have it can happen. It's probably like 1 week left, 1 week episode. So I don't think so that's gonna happen, but that could be a fun rivalry as well. I mean, Naomi versus Devil, uh, yeah. So we had a Sami Zayn versus Dominic Mysterio match. This was probably that Mysterio match that I liked. I like the chemistry that they had, and probably Dominic Mysterio is going to turn on his father, and they are literally teasing that for so much weeks right now, and he's getting lost for week after week after week, and yeah, so I think so. He's going to turn after Extreme Rules, or maybe at Extreme Rules. If he's going to match, I don't think so. Maybe at a SmackDown episode, and we get to the main event segment. Kane surprisingly is here, and as we know, he's a mayor of Tennessee, and he welcomed Bianca Belair. So Bianca Belair is shown some love from the crowd and the fans. It was kind of good. I mean, the whole emotional thing, and the family was also present. Near barricade. I mean, yeah, in the front, and that was good. I mean, Kane's involvements kind of made this slightly better, I would say. Apart from that, nothing I would say, because we had this Lynch, Becky Lynch. Then she came out, and she wants to just shake hands, and Bianca Belair kinds of goes to attack her, uh, but it kind of backfired, and she was manhandled slam by Becky Lynch. Probably, I think so, Lynch is going to have this finisher, and her submission would be that arm breaker, yeah, disarmer. So I don't think so for a finisher. Don't think so. Manhandle slam is a very sellable move, but it is what it is, man. And the main event segment was just very cold. It just This wasn't a match. They just had the segment, and that was it. And that was it, guys. This is the SmackDown show. Probably I took a lot of time doing this thing, talking about Seth Rollins. We get to the Rampage section, man. AEW Rampage. AEW Rampage was probably a fun show for obvious reason. I would say this is a 1 hour show. It's comfortable to watch through, and this so probably, but I'm not comparing anything, but I would say I had a fun watching Rampage this week. A fun show. We had the first match, where Penta Zero Miro and Ray Phoenix were defending against the Butcher and Blade for the AW tag titles. So the commentators, I mean the Excalibur and Taz, were kind of selling that this match is going to change. I mean, the title is going to change. Probably we are not thinking that, because such a huge victory that they got, and they are not going to lose to Butcher and Blade, and they. I think they actually shove down the throat that every time that they are not and they are undefeated. Is Butcher and Blade undefeated? I don't know, guys, but I don't know why Butcher and Blade came through out of nowhere. Uh, I don't think they are number one or something, because we have many type teams like Private Party, I mean FTR and all. I don't think so why they are not there. So probably it's a big match. So they don't want to give. But this was a nice defense, I would say. But this match was off sometime, I would say. But Penta Zero Miros, both Ray Phoenix and Penta and Phoenix offenses were good to watch through. Lucha wrestlers are fun, so this is one of the most fun lucha wrestlers that to watch through, I would say. After the match, Hardy family came and attacked the Lucha Bros, and then an Otis ran in for the save, and they were taking out the mask, and probably they are becoming a biggest baby face, and it's just great to see Penta Zero Miro, who was a great heel. They portray that character as well, very well, and they are probably, I mean, getting that character very spot on, the babyface character as well. So this was a opening match. The opening match was nice. We got Anna Jay versus Bunny. The story was there in this match. I would say the whole harm story was the thing, because she was actually injured, and she came back, Anna Jay. So that was the whole point. That was good, but it was little off. It sometimes they just kind of go to outside, and it kind of build into a bit slow. and go into the commercials, and then that just and then it was just it, I would say. And we had after match Ford and Bunny attack Tay Conti and eventually hitting Conti with brass knuckles by Bunny. So that's a thing. And this Bunny versus Tay Conti, I think so. Bunny versus I don't know who these two girls are going to face. I think so next week. Uh, and we got a video package ad on the CM Punk and Team Taz feud. CM Punk versus Powerhouse Hobbs is going to happen at Rampage next week. Next week, guys, Rampage is 2 hours. So we had Dynamite 2 hours as well, so 4 hours of wrestling of AEW. So quite a lot of things for AEW fans, probably pro wrestling fans. And we have Tony Schiavone then being interviewed Matt Hardy, and he was upset that everyone on his team lost, and he kind of pointed out Orange Cassidy fan, and they literally actually shaved his head off, cut his hair off. I mean, did he agree on? Probably, I think so. He agreed upon. That's why they did. But it was so bad to see that, man. And Jack Evans was in the ring with Hardy, worked over it, and Hardy hit a twist of fate before we had Cassidy coming out with the. And they kind of retreated. Hardy family retreated, and that was it. And probably we are going to get I mean, definitely we are heading for a hair versus hair match. We kind of that is teased by Tony Khan in some kind of interview that I read about. So we had AEW Women's Champion, probably the the spotlight of the second, I mean, not second hour, the last 25 minutes, I think so, because this was such great, man. This was just calling shots. Britt Baker actually called shots on Ruby Soho's the release by WWE, and all the things are changing names. And then we had Britt Baker also being called on. She's hanging and with Adam Cole banging her. So that was very fun as well. That got a huge reaction as well. So probably I am very interested to see this match right now. And they kind of hooked me off into this one promo that they had. So I think so. This is going to be a great match, and this is going to be a first match for Ruby Soho, and she's getting highly booked, and she's getting booked against Britt Baker, most over women's superstar, and I mean women's wrestler, and AEW Women's Champion. So that's great. Maybe we could see a title change. They can do that. I mean, yeah. Because she's kind of in a Becky Lynch thing, because she's very over. I don't think so if she's over like a Becky Lynch, but kind of that's what my thinking is going into. So maybe you could see Ruby Soho becoming the AEW Women's World Champion, and they kind of can continue this rivalry for AEW, the pay-per-view that's coming full gear. And that's great promo segment exchange between Baker and Soho, the highlight of this episode, I would say. And we get to the main event that I was very expecting this match to be a great match, and not a great match, but a really good match, I would say. It didn't disappoint, I would say, but in the ending it kind of disappointed me, because I kind of thought, what's the matter that they did this match actually. Because the first reason that they booked is to have that over superstar going up against the biggest heel, that is Miro versus Fuego del Sol, and he actually had a car on the line as well. Is yeah. And for the TNT Championship as well. So probably I think so they should not have included the TNT Championship. If they wanted to Fuego del Sol, if they wanted to have the victory on Fuego del Sol, they should have gone Fuego del Sol getting victory, and then Fuego del Sol versus Miro for the TNT Championship. So that was not the plan for them, because they don't want to have Fuego del Sol getting being the TNT champion for right now. They were just cashing on the opportunity, the babyface versus heel chemistry that they were looking upon. And it was very nice to the chemistry between Miro and Fuego del Sol is so nice, because Fuego del Sol is so much trying, I mean, to get that advantage on Miro, and Miro is just slamming him left and right with his power advantage. And it's always a good story to tell, and that was the point that they actually did, I think so. And That's a way. Probably I would say, probably I would say one of the weak main event that I saw, but the story kind of made it, and kind of a mixed reaction for me. But as I said, in the end, Fugo kind of hit a double strong. I think so. Maybe he should have get that tornado DDT. So they did save on that, because maybe that's way of the booking for Fugo, that if he hits that, it's the end. So maybe kind of a surprising thing they could have done, that Fugo getting the tornado DDT and Miro kicking out. That would have been a high drama thing that they could have got, but they didn't do that. Miro worked Fugo on the corner and hit two super kicks, and he was done, and hit it, covered Fugo for the pin. And after the match, we had this car key shoved onto his mouth, and he was just folded into half, man. He just was folded into half, man. It was, for God's sake, man. He was just what was that? I don't know. He was just cut into half, and that was it. Miro's character work is excellent, man. And if he's going to get more television time every week, it's one of the better things that AEW should do. That I think so. Don't put him onto the shelf, and don't put him onto the promo thing only. I think so. He is a more of action guy. So I think so. That's a way. That's the way this show ended. So Rampage was fun. SmackDown was probably pretty decent, I would say. I mean, decent, average to decent. Apart from that Roman Reigns thing, nothing other than that was very interesting. Probably the Rampage show was more fun and more entertaining and more storyline driven, adding to it for their Arthur Ashe show, and the next week Rampage as well. So, guys, this was the review of AEW Rampage and SmackDown. Hope you guys like it, and please put out your thoughts on this week's, the Day Rampage and SmackDown show. What are your thoughts? Which was the better show for you, and which was the match of the night for you? And have your thoughts, man, in the comment section below. I would like to know your thoughts. So I will see you guys in the next one, and probably I have a lot of reviews coming up, because we have G1 Climax begin today, and I think so. I may be doing this tomorrow, and we have the Mid Atlantic review that's coming up, and we have the another review as well. A lot of contents that I'm actually planning. We have the Impact's Victory Road that's also being going to be discussed tomorrow. So lots of content, guys. Please make sure to like, share, subscribe. Don't miss the content. So I will see you guys in this next one. Until then, be safe, stay energetic, and peace.